Some of you have been asking me for stories of the Norse myths and the Norse gods, and I would love to tell them to you. But before we get to the stories, one of the most commonly asked questions is, why are there so many versions? And if you think back to the time when the Norse people lived in the Viking era, there were Norse runes, and that was how they recorded their history and their stories. But they had a hard time writing down long versions of things, and so the full versions of the stories didn't get written down until after the conversion of the Scandinavian countries to Christianity, and so it was written long after the Viking Age was over, by people who wanted to preserve the stories, and who did so as best as they could. But the stories were read and told 100 different times, 100 different ways in every village where they were told. Imagine, if you will, a Norse house. Children lay fast asleep, tucked up in bed, while the fire burned brightly in the center of the house. The men were perhaps mending their fishing nets, and the women were weaving or mending. And somebody picks up a lyre and begins to play, and someone begins to tell a tale. It is one of the tales of the Norse gods, and tucked up snug in bed are all the children listening quietly to the story as it's being told. And the adventures and the tricksters of Loki, and the stories of Sif and of Lofen and of Thor and Loki and Odin and all the other gods, and gods and goddesses we haven't even heard of, are weaved by the ancestors of the house. And the tales are weaved again and again and again in ways that we never will be able to hear. But fragments were gathered and put together the best that they could be into two Eddas, the Elder Edda and the Younger Edda, one written in verse, one written in prose. And that's where our tales come from. And some of them have stories that are alluded to and gods that are alluded to that we don't even know about, that we can only wonder what their stories would have been. But those are where the stories come from. And so I will try for you the best that I can to tell you some of these amazing tales of the gods and goddesses of the Viking era, of the Norse times. And I will ask you for a little bit of indulgence and a little bit of patience while I try the best to recreate the stories that were lost from those times long ago, when the Viking still roamed the earth, and the tales which are so rich in history and so rich in culture were told around those campfires. And I hope you'll join me for some of these stories as I weave some of the tales as they might have been told around a campfire long ago. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe and check out our website in the link below. And we will keep bringing you stuff from the Viking era as we continue to explore and see what new stories and tales we have to share. So we'll see you next time.